Hello, my name is Hannah Bowen, and I'm speaking to you all today from Lake Placid, Florida. Lake Placid is a small town in south central Florida at the very southern end of the Lake Wales Ridge. And the Lake Wales Ridge is a super unique geological feature that runs down the spine of central Florida. And it is home to so many endangered and threatened and rare and endemic species, many of those species being plant species. And the Lake Wales Ridge is the whole reason I moved to Florida, so that I could study the rare plants of the Lake Wales Ridge. I worked as a research assistant at Archbold Biological Station for 2 years in the plant ecology program, and most of what we did was monitoring populations of rare and endangered plants. Sometimes we would do the occasional introduction. So that means, we would propagate these rare species in a greenhouse and then go plant them in a place that we know would be protected. That was really difficult. That was really complex. Doing those introductions, I would say, was probably the most stressful part of that job and also the most rewarding. So, when you're a biologist, you think about the organisms that you study a lot. If you're anything like me, those species, those organisms are the reason that you get up at 5 in the morning to pack your lunch for the field and, stand in the sun, in the beating sun for 5 hours, in white sand, super white reflective sand, burning to a crisp, getting dehydrated, sweating, working for $20 an hour after you have gone to school for 6 years. It's really that passion and that deep care for Mother Nature, for these tiny little flowers that most people don't know exists. So I guess it goes without saying that people that work in this field typically, they're doing it because they have a deep love for these plants, for these organisms, for the habitat that these organisms need to survive. And so when the lab that I worked with, when we would do rare plant introductions, which means we would propagate these rare plants and then go plant them in a protected location in attempts to increase the genetic diversity of these species so that they might have a fighting chance to continue existing. It's really heavy. It can be really heavy because what if something goes wrong? Things go wrong all the time, and you're working with these really very fragile, delicate populations. Well, what if the misters fail in the greenhouse and all of the genetic material that you rescued from an unprotected location just completely goes to waste? Or what if you don't? What if you're not able to find enough genetic material to take from in order to do a successful reintroduction? You're always kind of playing with fire, and I think that is the level of the weight of that is really hard to describe to other people, unless you're working in it. It's like, I don't even know if I have the words for it right now. Like, it's as if you're holding 2 million years of evolution in your hand, and if you mess something up, it could all go to waste. And on top of that, most people have no idea what you're talking about, you know? It's a bit isolating when you're doing this work, and you come home to your family, or speak to family on the phone, and you try to describe and say, I've been essentially like in triage with these endangered species, with Crotalaria avenensis or with Dicerandra thenicola, and they're like, huh, what are you talking about? Oh, okay, so I think that's really difficult. I think the pressure that we experience as biologists or people who are fighting for these rare and endangered plants, the pressure that we experience from our own selves, because we spend so much time studying the factors that led to the speciation of these plants, and we spend time studying their population dynamics, studying their potentially their pollination or their recruitment patterns. We know the ins and outs of these species, and we love them. And then when we participate in these actions that are meant to save them, there's so much potential for everything to go wrong, and maybe we end up making things worse, because in order to do an introduction, you have to harvest to a certain degree the existing plants in the wild. And so every time you do that, it's like you're taking a big gamble, and that can be really difficult. And it can be even more difficult when there are very few people that understand that experience. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.